We have truly shocking news that just came out of the House Judiciary Committee. It's confirmed, guys, that YouTube colluded with the Biden admin to censor conservative voices. As someone who's been on YouTube for a while now, who's conservative, who was, again, there during the Biden administration, I'm not that surprised. It's not that surprising, but I think it is shocking to see the evidence and admission from Google, because Google straight up says it. This is not me just saying things or the House Judiciary Committee saying things. We actually have a video from the YouTube CEO, as well as documents from the House. We're going to show both of those. Here's the official document from the House of their findings. At the top, if you're just listening, it says, Google admits censorship under Biden, promises to end bans of YouTube accounts of thousands of Americans censored for political speech. Out of Washington, D.C. today, thanks to the oversight of Chairman Jim Jordan, fantastic, by the way, Google commits to offer all creators previously kicked off YouTube due to political speech violations on topics such as COVID-19 and elections an opportunity to return to the platform. So essentially, most of the people who were kicked off or had videos taken down were saying things about COVID, or they were talking about the 2020 election. And what YouTube was doing was they were taking their videos down, they were demonetizing them, or in many cases, they were just completely taking their account away. And essentially what YouTube has said is that we're going to reinstate those people. I know the Nelk Boys, who have a huge podcast, just announced that they're getting their stuff back, which is fantastic. And again, these are people who didn't necessarily, like the Nelk Boys are a good example. The Nelk Boys are not particularly political. Like that's not what they do. They just like interviewing people. They have opinions, obviously. And so clearly, I haven't watched all their stuff. They had people on who had opinions about COVID that didn't go in line with Fauci. And they had opinions about 2020, but these were not the opinions of the Nelk Boys. And yet they were censored. And so what you had was there were just like truly, there was no dialogue allowed. It wasn't like, oh, I made this huge documentary about how COVID came from so-and-so place and is doing this in this huge conspiracy. I still think it would be wrong to censor that, but that's not what it was. It was like people just talking, people having a dialogue, not allowed. That's how bad it was. Google also admitted, this is according to the House Judiciary form and what they actually admitted to, there are 5 points. They admitted that the Biden administration pressured Google to censor Americans and remove content that did not violate YouTube's policies. So that's important. Obviously, YouTube, because they're a private company, they're a publicly traded company, but they're private in terms of not a government company. They can have any policy that they want and remove video because of it. And it sucks, but that is their prerogative. But the Biden administration pressured them to do things that were not part of their policy. And so what they were doing is they were adjudicating things differently. Leftists were able to say some things, conservatives couldn't say those same things. Number 2, the Biden admin censorship pressure was unacceptable and wrong. So YouTube is fully admitting that what the Biden administration did was not right. 3, public debate should never come at the expense of relying authorities. Obviously true. It doesn't matter if there are experts out there. We can still have a dialogue. 4, the company will never use third-party fact checkers. Fantastic, because you never know where those fact checkers are coming from. They can be Russia, China, they can be leftists, they can be all kinds of affiliated groups. 5, and finally, Europe's censorship laws target American companies and threaten American speech, including the removal of lawful content. And what that means simply is that Europe does not have free speech laws that we do here. You've heard a ton in the UK right now. People are being arrested for things they tweet. Well, what was happening is the UK is exerting pressure on YouTube, which then bleeds over into America, and we have different laws here. I think the laws in the UK are ridiculous. I think they're horrible. But at the end of the day, that's their problem. That's not our problem. If they want to be totalitarian, horrible leftists over there, that's their problem. I don't want that over here. And YouTube is openly saying that's fair enough. So this is a huge win. Just since we're keeping score, by the way, Meta, which obviously includes Instagram and Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok have all admitted at this point to anti-conservative bias because of the Biden admin. Not on their own, because the Biden admin told them to. You'll remember that Biden specifically went to Meta, went to Zuckerberg and said, you need to, and it was through the FBI, and said, hey, you cannot let them run the Hunter Biden stuff. And so they suppressed that right before the election. If you want to talk about free speech infringements or election interference, that is ground zero, ladies and gentlemen. And the leftists do not want to talk about that. What they want to talk about is Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air for 3 days. But they don't want to talk about the fact that the largest tech companies in the world were not allowing conservatives to talk. And again, these are some conservatives I don't even like. Like, these are people who are talking about wacko stuff that I don't agree with. But that does not mean they get to be taken off these sites. That is not acceptable. And I would never condone that if it was a leftist being taken off the sites either. Here is the CEO of YouTube talking about how she was actively working with the Biden admin to curb any speech that went against what Fauci was saying during COVID.
When it comes to vaccines, vaccine hesitancy, videos that cause a public health risk, where do you want to see YouTube do better?
Well, first of all, we've taken responsibility very seriously. It's been one of my top priorities, and with regard to COVID and with regard to vaccines, that has been a top priority for us. And we have a number of different ways that we address that. So first of all, we want to make sure that if there's information that violates our policies, we came up with 10 different policies around COVID. Then if that's a violation of policies, then that's something that we'll remove. We removed over 1 million videos associated with COVID.
Have you talked to the Biden administration at all about vaccine hesitancy or vaccine misinformation?
Well, we did an event actually with the Biden administration, including President Biden himself, with a number of creators, Fauci as well.
I wonder if there's anything that you see in the way that anti-vaxxers behave on the platform, if there are any data or insights there that could be helpful to people understanding where they're coming from.
I mean, we try to understand what are the different ways that we can break through. So we talked about in this campaign that we did about getting back to the things that you love. So what we really tried to do was get not just from the experts, but also people that were not experts, but who were explaining, like, why did they take the vaccine? Why?
So not only did they remove millions of videos, they also propagandized with Biden and Fauci. But we were told, you'll remember, by the experts that this was all a conspiracy. Not happening. This wasn't really happening. Trump was the one that was against free speech. Unbelievable. YouTube released an entire update on their policy moving forward. Here's what it says. It's very good. I mean, this is really, really good news. They say the company terminated channels. They're openly admitting it. The company terminated channels for repeatedly violating its community guidelines on election integrity content through 2023 and COVID-19 content through 2024. Today, YouTube's community guidelines allow for a wider range of content regarding COVID and elections integrity, reflecting the company's commitment to free expression. YouTube will provide an opportunity for all creators to rejoin the platform if the company terminated their channels for repeated violations of COVID and elections integrity policies that are no longer in effect. Fantastic. They continue and finish by saying YouTube values conservative voices. This is very direct. I mean, this is not something we've seen from a tech company. YouTube values conservative voices on its platform and recognizes that these creators have extensive reach and play an important role in civic discourse. The company recognizes these creators are among those shaping today's online consumption, landing must-watch interviews, giving viewers the chance to hear directly from politicians, celebrities, business leaders, and more. That's true. I hope, I pray to God that those are true words and not hollow, because what they say in there is all true. I am weary on this happening, after all that's happened over the last few years. But I am also hopeful, and I think we should be hopeful, and I think we should take the win. I think conservatives should look at this as a win. They should treat it as such. And again, this would never have happened if Trump had not been in office. Do not mistake this. If Kamala Harris had won, YouTube would have no incentive to do this. They would not. So again, there are cultural and actual organizational within private companies, not within the public sphere, the actual changes that happen because of who is elected president. So it's not just what Trump is doing. And the reason why I'm harping on this is because there are some saying that the Trump administration has been a failure and that, what they're doing, it would be no different if Kamala Harris was in. That is not true. It is simply not true. This would not have happened. Conservatives need to look at this as a win. Now, it is incumbent now on all of us to watch YouTube like a hawk and make sure they actually do what they say they will do. The progressive left is a cult. I talk all about it in my book, A New Cult. I talk about some crazy stories. Go check it out right now. It is on Amazon. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode, everybody. Please like the video so other great patriots like yourselves will see it. And you can tune in every single weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show, or you can watch another video right here.